Welcome to Always Anwar. Today we're talking about Anwar's strong defense of the Penang Light Rail Transit project. Okay, so let's unpack this. It feels like a pretty high-stakes political situation brewing. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has really taken a firm stand on the Penang Light Rail Transit, hasn't he? The Pearl Line.
He has, yeah.
And he's not just, defending it. He seems to be directly confronting the opposition, accusing them of being, well, basically out of touch with what's actually happening development-wise.
That's right. And this whole thing really zooms in on a classic dilemma, doesn't it? Development trade-offs. You've got the opposition. And look, they have points about the budget, the federal spending, asking if this huge cost is really necessary right now.
Yeah, the cost is definitely a big part of their argument.
But then you have the prime minister arguing, no, this LRT is absolutely vital. It's about balanced growth, inclusive growth, especially for the whole northern region. So it frames it as, what's the cost of the project versus the cost of not doing it, of delaying that kind of inclusive development.
Let's talk about the language he used. He was pretty sharp, wasn't he? Specifically targeting some members of parliament from the opposition.
Very sharp.
Saying their criticisms about cost and need are based on, what did he call it? Hearsay.
Hearsay, or even villager talk.
Villager talk. Wow, that's quite pointed for a public statement. Dismissive, really.
It is pointed, and you have to assume it's deliberate. It serves a political purpose. Anwar's essentially saying, look, if you're going to debate projects worth billions of ringgit, you need to be up to date.
Right. You need the real data.
Exactly. Economic forecasts, tender documents, the official plans. By calling it hearsay, he's trying to paint their arguments as weak, maybe based on old news or just unverified stuff.
Makes sense.
And it connects back to his bigger picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He keeps saying Malaysia needs to focus on real economic growth, becoming a regional player, not getting bogged down in arguments based on, well, outdated info or maybe even emotional appeals.
So the fight isn't just if the project's needed, but whether the criticism itself is even valid, information-wise.
Precisely.
Okay, but that brings us straight to the money, the cost. Because the budget did expand quite a bit, and that's the fuel for the opposition's fire, surely.
It absolutely is, and we need to remember how this started. The original proposal came from the Penang state government, right? And it was really just focused on Penang Island, trying to sort out the traffic jams there, a local solution.
Okay, island-focused initially.
Yes. But then the scope changed dramatically. And this is where it became a statewide issue. And yes, where the budget grew.
And this change was driven by the Prime Minister himself.
That's the narrative. Anwar, who, as he often mentions, grew up in Butterworth on the mainland.
Right, in Seberang Perai.
He personally stepped in, insisted the route had to cross the water, connect to Seberang Perai.
Why? What was his reasoning?
He argued the original plan was unbalanced. It favored the island, potentially leaving the majority of Penang's population on the mainland side without direct access to this major federal project.
Okay, so it was about fairness across the whole state.
That's the core argument for the expansion. The specific instruction was clear. The LRT terminal had to be at Penang Central.
In Butterworth.
In Butterworth, yes. That completely changes the project's nature. It's not just an island shuttle anymore.
It becomes a connector.
A critical link, yeah. Connecting the whole state, integrating the mainland with the island, and plugging into the wider national transport system. So, from the government's view, the extra cost isn't waste. It's a necessary investment for regional fairness, for mobility, making sure the economic benefits spread everywhere in Penang.
Okay, I can see the logic in that argument, a strategic investment. But you can also see how the opposition would frame it differently, right? Billions more ringgit looks like scope creep, maybe budgetary indiscipline.
Absolutely. That's the counter-argument. But it seems the Prime Minister anticipated this pushback, especially around fairness.
He seemed very aware that expanding it could be twisted politically, didn't he?
Definitely. It looks like a preemptive move, almost. He actually brought up the potential accusations himself.
What did he say?
He basically said, look, if we had stopped the LRT only on Penang Island, what would the opposition say then? They'd likely claim the government only cares about the island, or maybe only certain communities there.
Implying maybe the Chinese population?
Well, he suggested they'd claim neglect of the Malay community, which is predominant in Seberang Perai. He brought that potential attack line out into the open himself.
That's quite bold, calling out the anticipated criticism before it even lands.
It's a strategic way to frame the debate.
So how does extending the line actually counter those claims of bias?
By making the decision firmly about data and demand, that's the government's position. By ensuring the mainland, with its larger Malay demographic, gets this major infrastructure link via Penang Central, you can argue the project is fundamentally equitable.
Ah, I see. So the message becomes, this isn't about race or region, it's about where the people are, where the need is.
Exactly. He positions it as purely driven by economic and social factors across the whole state, not influenced by regional favoritism or, religious sentiment. It allows them to say, we're making decisions for everyone.
And he didn't just leave it at Penang, did he? He brought up other states, too.
That's right. To reinforce the idea that this isn't just about Penang getting special treatment, he mentioned increased federal development funds going everywhere: Sabah, Sarawak, Perlis, Kedah, Kelantan, as well as Penang.
So painting a picture of balanced development nationwide.
Precisely. It elevates the Penang LRT defense from just a local issue to an example of a national principle of fairness in how resources are allocated. It's about the whole federation.
Okay, let's drill down a bit. There was a specific target for some of these sharp remarks, wasn't there?
Yes, sim like it. The Member of Parliament for Pematang Pal, Mohammed Fawaz,
What did he said?
he'd apparently gone public saying the LRT was unnecessary and that it didn't reflect what the people of Penang actually wanted.
Right, and Anwar addressed this directly.
Very directly. And quite dramatically, too.
How so?
It happened during a groundbreaking ceremony for a related project, I think a traffic alleviation one. Anwar apparently turned to the audience where there were residents from Pematang Pal.
The MP's own constituents.
Exactly. And he essentially challenged them, asked them to speak up right there and then if they genuinely didn't want the LRT coming to their area.
Wow, that's putting them on the spot, publicly challenging the MP's claim in front of his own voters.
It's pure political theater, isn't it? Very assertive.
What's the political calculation there?
Well, it questions the MP's authority to speak for his constituents on this issue. It tries to shift the narrative. Is the MP really reflecting the local will or not? It puts the focus back on the people in the crowd.
So if we pull all this together, Anwar's argument is that extending the LRT to Butterworth isn't just about trains.
No, it's positioned as much more than that. It's presented as this tangible, multi-billion ringgit symbol of commitment to fair development for the entire state. It kind of forces the question back onto the opposition. Is your concern genuinely just about the cost, the ringgit spent? Or is there an element of trying to block a project designed to address maybe historical imbalances between the island and the mainland?
So we've got the PM using his Butterworth roots, national data, arguing this is vital for fairness, for connecting the state, boosting the economy for everyone. And on the other side, the opposition MP saying, hold on, the cost is just too high, it's fiscally irresponsible, maybe unnecessary right now.
That's the core tension, yes.
So for you, the listener, what's your take? Do you think extending the LRT to Butterworth really tackles that regional fairness issue effectively? Or does the opposition MP have a stronger point about the sheer cost involved?
And maybe think about this too. Big development projects, especially ones meant to connect regions or address fairness, they almost always cost a lot up front, right? And they often face criticism about that cost initially. So what should we as citizens prioritize more? Is it the immediate budget impact, the short-term spending? Or should we be focused on the potential long-term benefits, like more inclusive growth, correcting those geographical imbalances, even if it takes years to see the full results? It's that classic balancing act, today's budget versus tomorrow's potential parity.
A tough question with no easy answers.
Indeed.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.